Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Monster Super League podcast. I am your host, MightyLeafy, and joining me tonight is a not so special guest, after all, because he's been on the show for every single time now. Some say he may be Batman, but I say he may be Superman. But of course, he's neither. He is the one and only Yugen.
Hello.
So what are you?
What am I? I haven't really thought about it, actually.
I guess you're
wait. No, there's a word for that. There's a fucking word for that.
Oh, what? Okay.
Yeah. An enigma.
Okay. So, Yugen, what are you?
Actually, no, that does not work. Because only after all the, mystery shit, then the enigma makes sense. If I just say enigma out of nowhere... What the? What is this? What is this emo fucking edgy guy?
Alright, so first we're going to talk about the Jacks that have made a glorious return this capture festival. Yugen, what do you think about the new edition of the RGB Jacks?
I don't think they're very noteworthy, personally. That's just my opinion, though.
Okay, so on a general note, not very noteworthy. But we're gonna go through each and every single one of them and just give you guys our thoughts anyways. Alright, so let's start off with the red Jacqueline. She is a tank. So for her passive skill, we have defense down, grants a 60% chance to reduce the enemy's defense for 2 turns. And for her active, we have attack down, grants a 60% chance to reduce the enemy's attack for 2 turns. Well, she's a tank and she is a debuffer. Sounds like a pretty solid mod in general, from the looks of it.
I mean, sure, if you're just looking at the skill types, it looks pretty good for maybe Titan as a good debuffer, especially since she's a tank. But what puts me off a little is how kind of low the chances, like the rate is 60%, which is kind of low actually.
That is true. Something interesting that Yugen just reminded me of, or actually he just told me because I didn't know this, but the red Jacqueline is actually a 4-star in comparison to all the, where's the light one, a 4-star as well, and the dark one?
Yeah.
Those are 4 stars as well. So the water one and the wood one are 3 stars, but the fire and the light and dark are all 4 stars. So that's kind of weird. You'd think that the RGB would be like the same tier. But anyways, what makes this a little bit off-putting is that her skill books would be a lot more expensive, right? Can you actually skill book her even?
Yeah,
I think you can.
Yeah, I think you can. I'm not sure on the rarity of them either. I think, because she's always been a 4-star before this update, so the skill books would have been quite hard to get. So I don't think anyone would have a stockpile of them.
Well, unless you're like Nestaberry, you might have like 200. But then at that point, it's like you don't need them because you got 4 Dark Indras. But he probably doesn't have 4 Dark Indras. I don't know.
I wouldn't put it past him.
But yeah, so. Yeah, she's a little bit harder to skill book if you're trying to, book her up. There's probably easier options out there. 60% chance is fairly low, but I don't know.
I wonder though, because with the new elements, they're 3 stars, right? So I wonder if they actually lessen the rarity on the books now. I'm not sure.
Ooh, but
So we do know she can be booked. But in terms of the rarity of the books, I'm not too sure whether they count as 3 or 4-star rarity.
Anyways, let's move on to the water element. Alright, so the water Jacqueline is actually a defender. Her passive skill is Seal, grants a 70% chance to seal the enemy for 2 turns. Sealed foes' passive skills do not activate. And for her active skill, she has Taunt, grants a 80% chance to lower the enemy's attack and draw its attention for 1 turn. Okay, what do you think about this little Jacqueline, Yugen?
Hard pass.
Hard pass?
Hard pass.
But she's taunting you, like she wants you to attack her. Why would you hard pass this? Because it's an 80% chance, and you're like getting that 20% of it not proccing on you? Is that it?
No, it sucks. Taunt sucks. I mean, the rate's like 80% is fine, but for one turn even, let hard pass. Okay.
Alright,
next.
damn, wow. You guys know who to pin the blame on if we skip this element real fast? Just blame Yugen. Anyways, the next element on the list is the Wood Jacqueline. Alright, so the Wood Jacqueline is actually a attacker. For her passive skill, she has Predator. Increases damage dealt by 30%. That sounds kind of okay-ish. And then for her active skill, she has Sap. Grants a 70% chance to inflict the enemy with sap damage for 2 turns.
I think it can be usable. It's okay. It's not great by any means, but maybe for a new player, you can use it. For an attacker, the Predator skill is pretty okay. Only increases damage by 30% though. It's not great, but if you got nothing else, you can use it and find some use. So yeah, I think if you're a new player, sure, you can probably use her. But
if you are a new player, you want to go with the Light Jacqueline. Now, the Light Jacqueline is also an attacker, but her passive skill is Morale Boost. Critical hits have a 100% chance to restore own SP by 30%. And for her active skill, she has Hunter, increases critical hit damage by 50%. Now this is the wave clearer and nuker that you would be looking for as a new player if you were looking to build a farming team, at least in the beginning.
Right, if you don't have enough Lyns to go around, invest in this one for sure, totally. I think that's it, it's the best, right? That's all you can say, really. It's the best farmer.
The best farmer, if you missed out on Dark Tina, and if you missed out on Dark Sierra, Light Tina and also Light Sierra, they're pretty good farmers as well. But this one is also a pretty good farmer. So if you're new to the game and you just got in and you're looking for something to sort of because you always want morale boosters as your farmers, yeah, just get this one. Maybe put 2 of these guys in your team so you can make sure to one-shot the waves. But yeah.
Yep.
Other than that, the other alternative is if you want a little bit of sustain in your team, then definitely check out the Dark Jacqueline. The Dark Jacqueline is a tank, and for her passive skill, she has Adrenaline. Attacks restore allies' HP in an amount equal to 5% of own max HP. Now it's important to note that you can eventually skill book this to a whopping 10% of own max HP, and her max HP actually caps out slightly higher than the Water Purse. So that's kinda good, but you're gonna have to get those skill books. For her active skill, she has Sap. Grants a 50% chance to inflict the target with 2 types of sap damage for 2 turns. Yugen, what are your thoughts on this little cutie pie?
I think it's good for sustain for your team. The Adrenaline definitely suits her, the type of monsters, the tank, so you can make full use of that skill.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say it suits her because she's a pumpkin and everybody wants a piece of that pumpkin or something. I don't know.
Sure.
So every time she attacks, people eat 5% of her max HP. Okay, wait. That's just too weird. She's a pumpkin pie. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
What? Okay.
I don't know.
Are you hungry?
What? No. And with the active sap, 50% chance to inflict target with sap damage for 2 turns. That's not great, but then again, you're not really getting her for the active skill anyway. You want the Adrenaline, I think, if you're going to make full use of her. That's where you're going to find the value. And if you need sustain for your team, definitely you can look into getting a Darklyn. This one's pretty versatile. You can pretty much almost use her anywhere, just wherever you need that sustain. So yeah, it's definitely not bad.
Okay, now it's time for that segment of our podcast, the Guess That Astronaut segment. Now in this segment of the podcast, I read out a story/habitat of a randomly chosen astronaut, and you audiences, as well as Yugen, get to guess who I've picked as the mystery astronaut for the episode. Now, on the last episode of the podcast, the answer was Sherlock, in which Yugen got on the podcast, so I had to beep him out. This astronaut is generally very quiet and spends much of her time sitting calmly in the corner. However, sometimes she will get a devilish grin on her face and begin laughing to herself, though she will turn her head away if your gaze meets hers. And so who might that be?
Dang, that's a tough one. Very vague.
Very, very vague, which is why I picked her.
Oh. Okay. Well, I guess I'll just have to make a random guess then.
A random guess.
Yeah.
That's not good. Okay.
Banshee.
Okay, so it's not Banshee, so you can cross that off your list if that was your guess. And good luck, guys. Let me know in the comment section down below what your guess is, and the answer will be revealed next podcast. Okay, so in the recent update to Master Super League, 433 also added in the wood element as well as the water element Chloe's. Now previously, Chloe was only available to us as the fire element and light and dark element. Now last year she was locked behind paywall, but this year she is still for the most part locked behind paywall. But you know, she's locked behind Lupin Dungeon as well now, so she's locked behind stuff all the time. She's locked up basically. So yeah. So to celebrate this occasion, let's take a look at all the elements of the Chloe and figure out which one we should be getting. Okay, so first up, the Fire Chloe. For her passive skill, she has Adrenaline. Grants a 50% chance to restore 50% of her own HP when attacking. And for her active skill, she has Adrenaline, attacks restore allies' HP in an amount equal to 10% of her own max HP. So that's kind of good.
The skill, the rates kind of suit her, the theme of the character, right? You know, with the sort of whole gambling theme, the way how it's like you only get a 50% chance to benefit. You either get it or you don't, right? So I think it's okay. It's not bad.
I was trying to figure out what you meant by like it fits her theme. Like she's a bunny girl healing people, okay? Oh, gambling. Yeah, that makes sense. Yes.
Yeah. So sort of like she's like an all-in character, right? Like all bets are in, like 50%. You know, huge gains or just nothing. So which, you know, if you're up for that kind of playstyle, I think, you know, it's all right. The rates aren't bad.
Well, if only the rates for gambling were 50-50, then it would be pretty good, wouldn't it? But of course, it's not like that.
The RNG is very mysterious in this game.
Yes, very, very mysterious indeed. Okay, let's move on. Now for the water element. So the water element Chloe is a defender. For her passive skill, she has Petrification. Grants a 100% chance to petrify target for one turn. Petrified foes cannot act but have increased defense. Now for her active skill, she has Sap. Grants a 60% chance to inflict the target with 2 types of Sap damage for 2 turns. Okay, wow, Petrification and Sap. That's actually not too good.
The passive is not bad for crowd control, but like I said, you have alternatives. That's the thing.
Yeah, but there's like 100% shock, 100% defense down, 100% stun for 2 turns, 100% sleep for 2 turns. 100%.
Exactly, that's what I mean.
Like, there's so much stuff.
There are alternatives. That's why. So
yeah,
it's not bad for crowd control. The problem is that you have so many options. You don't need this one specifically, especially when it's so limited, you know, the Chloe's
and then
limited,
it's like 60% sap. I mean, I know you can skill book the Chloe's, but she's a 4-star. The skill books are going to be harder to find, as well as a little bit pricey, but the pricey thing you can just grind money for. But the finding of their skill book is going to be a toughie.
Okay. Moving on to
Okay,
the
so
one now.
next one, yes,
Yep.
the wood element, Chloe. All right, now the wood element Chloe is rather interesting. She is a attacker, and for her passive skill, she has Stalker, increase critical hit rate by 30%. And for her active skill, she has Hunter, increase critical hit damage by 30%. So as you can see, that's a little bit kind of strange because critical rate by 30%, that means you can GM her not 100% crit because her passive kind of gives you that 30% boost. But then when it comes to her active, it's like, oh, what? You didn't GM her for 100%? Well, now it's not 100%, now it's just 70%. But if you do land it, it's like 30% damage increase. It's like, well, what do I do? Like, what?
Right, so don't be misled by these skills just because, they're both crit skills. They actually have very bad synergy. They do not work in tandem with each other. Because of you get a bonus crit rate for the passive, but as soon as you get to the active, you don't have that crit rate bonus. So the way you gem her for the the passive is not going to work for how you. It's not going to work with the active. So it's really this one's a bit controversial. This one.
Maybe it's like you said, it's going with her theme of the gambling thing. So maybe you just put everything into her crit damage and then just hope her passive sort of works out. And then when she does her active, you just hope it all works out.
That may be one way to look at it. Yeah, that could be. I mean, otherwise, it is definitely a flaw, but if it is going by that sort of going by her theme, then I guess it kind of makes sense in a way. But the skills really have poor synergy. That's the thing. You just gotta take that into consideration.
Hold the phone, guys. The Wood Chloe just got an update to her skill set, much to our dismay. Wait, our dismay? No, actually we really like the change, because now her set actually works.
Yeah, it's definitely much better than the previous set of skills. Yeah, it's actually usable now.
So now with the changes, it's Stalker on both the passive and the active. So no longer would you have to split your gems based on upping her crit rate or her crit damage. Now you can focus more on her crit damage because she is getting that crit rate boost from the passive and active skills. You can point it out something fairly interesting to me, which I did not know. So actually, the new Chloe is pretty much a clone of the existing Wood gene.
Well, they have the exact same skills. They both having Stalker, with the only real difference of them being the actual stats of each mon and the lead skill. Yeah, the stats are actually a little bit better on the Chloe, like in all aspects.
I mean, it better be. She is more exclusive.
Yeah,
but then again, that also presents itself as a problem. Like, if I'm gonna build a Chloe, I probably wouldn't pick the wood one unless I liked her color scheme, because the wood gene is just pretty much so close stat-wise and exact same in the skill sets, So if I was a free-to-play player, which I'm not, I would go for the light one. I would build her up because she does something none of the other mons in the game does. With her 30% chance to get a full 100% SP bar refill per attack, which is really unique. So that's why I would go for the light Chloe.
Yeah, but for those that maybe aren't so big on the novelty aspect of the light Chloe, and you're really not a huge fan of her skills, I suppose a wood one is usable, but again, it's very similar to the wood gene. That's the thing. So it's okay if you want to build a wood gene if you really don't like the water, fire, or light ones, because she is usable.
Did you just mean like the wood gene or the wood Chloe?
Oh, the wood Chloe, I mean, yeah. See, they're so similar, right? I get them mixed up.
Now, if you thought this was gambling at its finest, then wait till you see the Light Chloe. Now, the Light Chloe is a defender. For her passive skill, she has morale boost. Now, this is a rather interesting morale boost. Grants a 30% chance to restore 100% of own SP when attacking. So that means you get a almost 1 in 3 chance of getting a full SP bar when you do an attack. That's crazy insane. For her active skill, she has Shock. Grants 70% chance to shock target for 1 turn. Shock foes cannot act and have reduced defense. So, damn, this is like the ultimate RNG PvP defense mod. Put on a pugilist gem and 1 out of 3 times, you know, she's gonna not be nice to your opponents.
Yeah, so, like Leaf said, this is probably the one Chloe that most sort of, you know, fits her theme, or, you know, the gambling theme, because it is really sort of balls to the wall, right? It's all in or nothing. The 30% chance to just fully restore your SP bar is, you know, it can be really good or really bad, right? It just depends on...
You skill book her, she gets 40% chance, and her active becomes a 80% chance, I think.
Yeah, that's, you know, that doesn't sound all too bad if you can get those skill books. It sounds really good, actually.
You just gotta get those skill books, which is not easy, at least for us to do. But
yeah, so I think it's okay, at the very least.
The thing is, 30% chance to restore 100% of own SP. That means she's not very good when you use her for PvP offense, right? But when you put her on a defense team, now you guys all know how RNG works. That 20% chance stun on a pugilist set, when you fight against a defense team that has that, it doesn't feel like 20%. That 20% pugilist stun feels like an 80% sometimes. So God knows how much this 30% will feel for your opponent. It might even pose enough of a threat that people might want to take her out first.
Right. I mean, just the prospect of having that SP bar full up, like just on that turn, it is worrying, right?
Yeah, and then the next time she might just be like, bam, shock everyone. Or if the shock fails, it might stun some people. It's like crazy. It's like, wow, do you want to take the risk? Do you want to gamble?
Tell you what, though, she'll need some really high res.
Yeah,
because, you know, she'll, you know, refill her SP bar, but, you know, then they'll try and, you know,
CC her?
Yeah, exactly. So you want her to have high res if you're going with that tactic.
Okay, so moving on. The next Chloe on the list is, of course, the Dark Chloe. The one and only Chloe that is forever locked behind paywall. Now the Dark Chloe, I don't even need to check her stat things because I know she is a balanced mod. For her 3-star passive skill, she has attack down, grants a 70% chance to reduce the enemy's attack for 2 turns. And for her active skill, she has Courageous Strike, greatly increases attack power in proportion to the target's maximum HP. Now, you guys all know where this is going. She is basically a Water Indra, but dark, but has about 300 less attack at Evo 3 maxed out. But since she's dark, she gets extra critical damage, and her variant skill lead is Death Blow, increases allies' critical hit damage by 40 to 45%, versus Water Indra, or just Indra in general's variant lead skill, which is just increase attack power of Astromons by 40 to 45% in clan battles. So yeah, she's locked behind paywall for kind of good reason, I think, because she is if you get like a lot of her, she is quite deadly.
She is an OP mod. Yeah, so that is the reason she is locked behind a paywall.
Also because she looks really good.
Right, she looks great.
Gotta get that otaku money.
Right, so in terms of value, this one is definitely where all the value is, but then it's behind the paywall again. So it's probably inaccessible for a lot of free to play players, which I can understand many people can be a little upset by.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I don't know what else there's to say about her, right? She is the best because she is a Titan killer. She is OP, but you have to pay to get her. I mean, it sucks for free-to-play players. That's all I can say, I guess.
You know, I was surprised that she's 45 New Zealand dollars, not 75 New Zealand dollars, because if you remember back when the Light and Dark Succubus was available for purchase, they were, you know, Light and Dark Nat 4s, so they were sold for like 75 bucks. She's a Dark Nat 4 exclusive, and she's being sold for 45, so I wonder what the story is behind, you know, that.
I'm gonna take a wild guess and say it's because I think maybe quite a few people already have her from last year. Maybe that's why. I don't know though.
Okay. Interesting.
Maybe that affects the value, I'm not sure though.
Yeah, it's very hard to grasp the concept of how they price things, but okay.
Yep.
I think with skill books you can bring that attack down to a 100% chance to reduce the enemy's attack for 2 turns. And I think for the Courageous Strike it just increases her attack power even more. But yeah, getting those skill books because she's a Nat 4, not too sure it's going to be that easy.
No. I think maybe you can buy them in the crystal shop though. I can't remember.
The crystal shop. The crystals are so pricey.
Yeah.
Can you buy me some?
Nope.
Damn. I thought we were friends.
Well, we're not that chummy.
Oh,
Not to that point.
Aw. Well, I'll ask. No, that's gonna get cut from the thing. So, Yugen, I understand that a lot has been happening in the land of Leticia lately. I mean, we got the return of the Jacquelines because it's Halloween. And then we've also got Dark Lupin at his finest again. This time he is doing unspeakable things to the Chloes in his own little dungeon. And we gotta rescue the damsels in distress from the Lupin dungeon every day by getting a clue from the story grinding levels. So much is happening, I'm confused. What do you think about all of this, Yugen?
What? Unspeakable things? Can you elaborate? Okay. Alright. So... Well, wait, what? Wait, what was the question? Fuck.
Just what do you think about the shit that's going on in general?
Okay. So the Capture Festival and the Lupin Dungeon, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so with the Capture Festival, Jacqueline, it's an okay mon. The light one is definitely worth having, so get her if you don't have one, but in general, it's not that much of an exciting Capture Festival, I feel, but I think that's okay given we've just come off the back of the anniversary event, which was a really big event, and we all got, you know, a whole lot of great stuff from that event, so, you know, so having a more sort of I don't know, toned down event, you know, having a not so great event, it's okay. I don't mind so much because we were quite spoiled not too long ago. In terms of the Chloe, I think it's great that we have access to her again.
If you have access to your wallet, then you have access to her.
True. Yes, indeed. So I can understand how some people could be upset how she's locked behind the paywall, but again, she is a really strong one, so it also makes sense that they don't make her that accessible. One could argue they could have went about it another way as well, but I mean, it is what it is, right? So
I mean, if you think about it, she's worth about 1.5 weeks of consecutive KFCs. So if you don't eat KFC for 1.5 weeks on a daily basis, then you can get one Dark Chloe.
Off that logic, I think everyone could get a Dark Chloe because I don't think everyone eats KFC every day.
but it's so finger licking good. This video is not sponsored by KFC.
Not yet.
Not yet. God damn it. So yeah, I guess that's it. That's our take on the new releases, this patch. Anyways, time to wrap this podcast up. Now, since I always do the transition out, Yugen is going to be doing it for us today. Now, take it off, Yugen. Take it off.
Take what off? Everything. Let me just say, we do have a Discord, which you can find in the description below. So, if you have any questions or if you'd like to engage in our small MSL community, I like to emphasize on the word small. It's growing though. Again, feel free to join anytime. And hope you enjoyed the podcast, and maybe see you next time.
So, Yugen,
What's
are
up?
you really Sasuke?
No. Fuck.
Ah, fuck.
Well, you have no shortage of bloopers.
It's not gonna make it. What the fuck? Oh shit. Okay, I think that's about wrapped already. That's a wrap up.